What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Moving with Life. Andy here, coming to you with a new episode and some observations and thoughts with something I've been currently dealing with. I guess for the past 2-3 weeks, and it's made me think as we jump. We're gonna jump straight into it here. Have you ever felt like the universe is testing you? And have you ever thought in that mindset and that thought process? Maybe the universe is testing you to see how bad you want something, whether it's graduate school, joining the military, getting out of the military, applying for a new job, applying for undergraduate school. It doesn't have to be graduate school, just any university or vocational school. Plumbing, HVAC, all those things. Whether it's the forms, 10 pages of having to fill out for the application, let's say for school, or trying to call the office for the job that you just applied for and there's no answer and you've been waiting for weeks. So all that to tie in, what is the value of the red tape? Because then what I came up with was, how can I find the good in this? Genuinely, how can I find the good in this? I don't know. Because even this morning as I'm making phone calls, and I talked to probably 7 or 8 people, and for those closest, I guess the closest to me, those I talk to basically on a daily basis, that I am trying to get into graduate school and so on and so forth, but there's some prereqs I need to do. Okay, cool. When going through it, applied, trying to work through it, but still trying to register for classes. Mind you, I know we're in the last week of July, and the doors closing I would say pretty slowly. Like, there's still time, and I checked. There's still some classes available. I won't be able to get. Maybe I won't be able to get like the full-time status, but I can get my classes started. That's all I want right now. Is let me get my classes started. And so all that has built up for me to now come in with, I guess, starting with my frustration. But it's like, okay, still, I don't want to be cliche about it, but what is going to come out of this? Made me think myself, what hoops do I have to jump into myself? What hoops do I have to jump through to make this happen? Not as soon as possible, but as quickly as possible, for sure. We'll go over some points and dive deeper into observations, but the frustrations what brought me here today. And hopefully, in talking with you and talking about these things out loud, maybe we can come to a ending where we can find what's good, and not just to be like the cliche, bad things happen, and things will end up good at the end, or it's worth the process, right? It's worth going through these obstacles to achieve your goal. Because even, you can go into Ryan Holiday, Stoic, the Daily Stoic, where one of his books is literally "Obstacle is the Way," and I haven't even read it. I'm pretty sure I own it, but I haven't read it. But it's the premise of Stoicism, right? It's like the way through is doing the hard thing. And so let's jump into it and see what we'll come up with. All right. So as I've stated in the intro, I'm trying to get into graduate school. I already applied. I'm in the school, but now I'm trying to register for classes. And literally today, I think I talked to 3 people within like 15, 20 minutes, and yet there's been no resolve. And it's like, so we don't do this, call this number. We don't do this, call this number. Oh yeah, how about just email us this and all this information, and we should be able to help you out. And I get that even doing this, obviously, it's technology, right? And I've mentioned this before, where technology advancement is amazing. But I don't understand, and maybe it's creating jobs. I don't know, because in total, I've probably talked to like 7 or 8 people in the past couple of weeks trying to get this thing done. And I don't know, like, if I'm dealing with this, someone else is dealing with this. That's my observation, that's my opinion. Just based on experience. It's like, where there's one, there's two. Of anything, good and bad. I made a phone call, again, do this and that, and yeah, I'm still here. And I'm still not registered for classes. And I'm just trying to do that so I can get to the bigger goal, which I'm trying to keep, which I am trying to keep my eyes on, It's just wild to me. Because it is wild to me that it's there's been no direct answer. It's always like an email or another phone number, and I just don't understand. And I'm trying to understand that. That's why I'm also here. Cause I'm like writing these things down and trying to think of or I guess try to keep my head right and my headspace right to remember like the big goal, to remember the strategic picture and the things I want in my life, and then my the building of my family's life as well. And even then, and it's funny because even job hunting, even though I'm looking for part time, looking for something I can do that even when I start school I can do it part time, and so on and so forth. And even those aren't the biggest doors to walk through currently. At least for the stuff that I've looked into. Again, to try to have some cash flow while I'm going to school for now. And it's funny because it does make me think, what is this trying to tell me something, or am I ignoring just the simple fact that I need to push myself through this? I don't know, but that's one of the thoughts that I have. And frankly, I basically have talked I talked or emailed people all morning. I left it at that, and then I'm like, okay, like there's nothing else I can do except for wait for emails, responses, or a phone call. Which I mean, no one. That's another thing. No one makes phone calls anymore, for the most part. I'm talking about business and business related things, where everything's an email, and I don't think I spent more than a few minutes on the phone with a singular person to then just give me an email or another phone number. So it's like good, communication's fast, this and that, but it's still not. I have not checked any boxes, and that's the reality of the current situation. Another big thing is trying my best not to compare either my previous experience with a normal job, we'll say it's, a civilian job, like when I worked at Harbor Freight back in college, my college days, and also like the military, because even in the military, it's funny because when I joined the military, I saw how many things now that as I was learning, as I was brand new in the military and the Navy, things weren't so different than what I experienced in retail, in some food industry, being a summer instructor for younger kids and whatnot. But the communication was the same. And so when I joined the military, I'm learning that there's a lot of correlative things, because those that I met when they were, let's say, 18 and in the military now, that's all they know. They had never had a prior job at all. Some have, and some did. I'd say there was an even amount of sailors, and then eventually Marines, that there's an equal amount of younger adults who they've had previous jobs and now they're in the military, and then those that joined right out of 18, or even not, and they joined, maybe they tried college and they didn't feel it, they didn't like it, they didn't like the experience, whatever that may be, whatever that looked like. And so now they're in the military, and they think, and at least this is from my observations and from my conversations, they thought, some of y'all think, that it's gonna be different when you go back to the civilian world. It's humorous to me, I guess, because it's funny to me that now that I'm back to the civilian world, trying to figure things out, and I don't mind. And again, I don't mind spearheading things, taking things into my own hands. But now, for the sake of this discussion, I guess the argument that I'm bringing is, it's still now it's, there are certain things that are out of my hands. I can't just click yes, or I can't just apply or submit for classes that are open. They're open, their availability, but yet I can't just click add and submit and then be registered for the classes. I have to go to this and then this and then this, and hey, email this and call this person and all, and that's the part that it makes it hard not to compare. It makes it hard not to compare in this situation. But again, the premise is the premise of this point is, I could spearhead, I could just take the lead, and then at least if I went to one or two people, things would get done for the most part. There's for the for my initial immediate recollection, it was never more than a couple of people, and also some of that had to do with having good leaders too. And I talked about that in previous episodes, and I've talked about it in general. Just the leadership that I got to have through my whole 6 years of being in. How lucky, how fortunate I really was to have the leaders, because then I could just talk to them, and they would either help me out, help give a good word for me, whatever that looked like, or me just building a rapport with them. It's like, hey, can I do this? And they're like, yes, go ahead, go do it. Do what you know you can do. Do what you need to do to get the job done. And I try not to use the word, like, the verbiage of like the mission and all those other things, because I rarely use that even then. I try to use general verbiage when it comes to just getting the work. It's about getting the work done. Either way, civilian, military, whatever, it's getting the work done, and so I can go home at night, which is pretty much, I would say that's the goal for probably, if not all of us, most of us. And so that could lead into maybe sounding entitled. I don't feel it. I'm not asking for special attention. I just would like to register for my classes so I can go to school. And so it's like, because then I look inward to myself. It's like, well, do I sound entitled? Do I sound like I deserve something? And I don't feel like I deserve anything. I don't mind doing the hard work, but I guess the work should be in the school and the classes themselves, not having to go through with these things before I even start classes. And I feel like, hopefully, my hope is that once I do get registered, whenever that is, however that ends up being, that the classes is actually the easy part. And I would say it's kind of unfortunate, because that doesn't make sense. The classwork, the 16 weeks that you go to, if you do a full semester, it's about 16 weeks or so. It's like, that should be where, yes, I'm gonna have to put a lot of time, but it's probably not gonna be as hard as me having to talk with 8 people just to register for these classes. And I haven't lacked the want to be persistent. That's why I'm here. I mean, it's been, I don't know, 3 weeks that I've been trying to register for classes, however long it's been, and talking to, again, various people from different departments and so on and so forth, where it's like, I don't mind doing hard work. I currently just don't understand why the hard work is just registering for the classes. It's like, can I just save some brain capacity for my tests and my midterms and papers and whatever else I'm gonna have to do? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. All this, so I guess the next point, as I was prepping this episode and trying to think of, I was trying to think of relevancy. I was trying to think about what am I trying to bring to this conversation today. One thing it did remind me of, when it came to like frustration and doing the work, and even if it's tedious. And I guess one of the main ones I thought of was having to clean my rifle when I was with the Marine unit. And to be honest, I didn't like how long we had to spend on the rifle, on our cleaning our weapon system, which, for the sake of it, okay, just hear me out. It's like, I understood that it needs to get done, but it's like, okay, should a rifle, and for you more intuitive gun experts, more intuitive gun experts can reply or comment wherever you see this. It's like, should your rifle, pistol, maybe not other weapons, like a 240 or maybe a 50 cal. Maybe it's different for those types of weapons. I don't know. I'm not a subject matter expert in those things. But it's like, should your rifle, pistol, so on and so forth, be spotless, right? And that was always the argument. And it's funny because I'm not the only one. I mean, there's probably a bunch of that will hopefully see this, will agree or disagree with me. It's okay. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't matter. But the tediousness of like taking apart the spring and and taking the rifle apart, right, and cleaning the barrel and making sure you get the star on the inside and all these things that for some of y'all, some of my friends out there, you all know what I'm talking about. But it's like, but for the sake of the argument, it's like that is part of the work. I didn't like it all the time. But like, hey, you gotta go to the armory, pull your stuff, and clean. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll be right there, or I'll go in the afternoon, or whatever the situation, pending my workload and whatever I was doing that day. But nonetheless, I would go do it, right? And usually, and 9 times out of 10, literally, if not 10 times out of 10, once I got there and pulled my stuff and I started cleaning, I even forgot about how much it like frustrated me to have to come over here and pull me from whatever work I needed to do at the BAS or anything like that. But even that, again, I was checking a box. I was getting something done that was necessary, absolutely necessary. And I'm just, again, trying to tie that into my current situation of just registering for classes. Like, I feel like registering for classes is waiting at the armory door, and I'm just waiting. And I gave him my weapons cards. And I'm like, hey, have you got my stuff? And I've now come like 5, 6 times to just pull my stuff so I can clean it. And I don't know if it's a good metaphor or not, but it, from my friends that are in the military or in the military, you'll understand some more than others, or I guess compared to people who have not been in the military in any aspect. And so it's like, why is the gate locked at the armory, i.e., registering for classes? It's like it's not even the most important part of the whole thing. At least at least from my perspective. Again, you can comment below, you can chime in, message me, whatever. That's the current situation. That's where we're at. And as we transition to the conclusion here, it just doesn't have to be this hard. Again, just for the sake of my opinion, it doesn't have to be. There shouldn't. My opinion. There shouldn't be the need to jump through 9 hurdles just to register for classes. So there's 2 questions I'll pose on here, and I would like you to respond in the comments or DMs or anything like that. But what's something you've had to push through lately that tested your patience? Do you think friction means something's wrong, or that you're being polished, we'll say? Like, is friction something that is taking you farther away from your goal or closer to your goal? And that one can kind of lead into a cliche answer like, oh, it's making me stronger and this and that. It's like, okay, like even me here, like I've heard that before, but that doesn't help me solve the current situation. But let me know what you think. What does friction do to you? Do you run towards a problem and get it done? Do you procrastinate? Do you how do you react? If you react to friction, whether it's interpersonal communication, registering for classes, applying for a job, what does your brain tell you to do? What does your body tell you to do when you hit friction? In closing, the cliche thing would be to push through it, persevere, spearhead the situation. But the reality, in my opinion, my observation, the reality is, okay, what does this mean? What good is coming out of this? What can I learn from this? How can I help somebody else deal with this if they're dealing with it? Or if I once I register for classes and so on and so forth, will I be able to help the next person that I hear is having to deal with this? Because I've always said, if I don't have the answer for you, I'll help you find the answer, and the answers I've been given is just another phone number and another email address, and that's not always the answer. I hope that this brought some perspective, hopefully brought some thoughts. Bring your observations. I never mind. I always look forward to a conversation. I never mind having a conversation about various things. I don't have to be necessarily this, but when it comes to hurdles, where do you see yourself ending at? Or when you run into hurdles, what do you do to not only get through them, but when you get through hurdles, when you get faced with hurdles, what is your instinct, and then what do you do to hopefully solve the problem? So with that, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe. Instagram, I've been posting on TikTok, trying to post on Instagram a little more. I mostly read Twitter. I'm not really actively post. I repost a lot or retweet a lot. Same thing for Facebook. Not really content heavy, active on those platforms, but I am on there sharing usually funny things, usually memes or funny information. But I hope you got something out of this. I hope something was gained through this. And so until next time, I'll see y'all very soon. To give you my observations and my opinion on it. What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Moving with Life. Andy here, coming to you with a brand new episode.